Hey guys, so I just had a talk with someone and she confessed something that happened that she's not happy talking to people about necessarily. Is whoa, really really uncomfortable to talk about. I'm like sinking in an airbed right now. And one of the things that we talked about is like, because she was like, I don't want to. I don't necessarily want to like tell everything that went on. I don't want to tell other people like exactly everything that went on because of the consequences that might happen to that other person. And I said, well, I think you should always tell the truth, always. Because when you look at so if you're the person who's actually doing the bad thing, whatever that is, you're not going to be able to sleep at night. If you do something bad that you have to hide, it puts you in a very vulnerable position, because if the wrong person finds out about it, they're going to have control over you, because they're going to be able to blackmail you and tell you, oh, well, I'll tell everybody that you had an affair with that married guy, right? But if you go ahead and you're open about the lessons that you've learned and the things that you've gone through, and you're willing to talk to people about it, it kind of takes everybody's weapons away, you know? What can they say? They can judge you for it, but that only it talks about their character. It doesn't talk about yours. It just means they're an unforgiving person who's judgmental and doesn't love themselves, basically. And then if you talk about it from your point, it's like, well, I don't want the consequences to be different because I told more information. Well, the problem with that is, well, you're not God. You're not the one that assigns the consequences. And when somebody who's trying to assess, let's say, what do you call the consequence? The judicial consequence, whatever that would be. If you're that person trying to decide, wouldn't you rather have the full picture of what's going on and not have somebody hide the information for you to decide truly what you think is the best thing to do in that situation? So we think that we're controlling things sometimes, and we think that we're controlling the outcome by holding some information back, or, this person's going to do this to me if I do that, or what. Just take all the thinking. I would suggest, this is just my opinion and how I've lived, I would always tell the absolute complete truth. Just be a complete and total open book, no matter the consequences. You agreed to keep the secret and be a part of it in the first place. Take the consequence of telling the truth, even though somebody's, most of the time it's all threats and they don't do anything, or they can't do anything, or it doesn't, you're protected. When you do the right thing, God protects you. Trust me. So you guys should know that by now by watching me. And it's not just that I'm special to God necessarily. I just think that he always wants to reward doing the right thing. He'll have your back if you decide to do the right thing about whatever the thing is, okay? So number one, always do the right thing, so nobody can try to control you by threatening or blackmailing you and telling you they're going to do this, that, or the other thing if if they're going to tell your secret if you blah, 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 whatever. So they can't use that against you, and they can't try to control you with it. So, and you can sleep at night and never worry that there's any skeletons in your closet that will come out. So always make the right decisions. Always do the right thing so that you can sleep at night, and you're completely like, you don't even have to worry about it. So number two is, if you were involved in something and just never said anything for whatever reason, I didn't want to ruin that person's reputation, or I didn't want them to look bad, or I didn't, whatever it is. And it comes time when questions are being asked and things, definitely, absolutely tell the whole entire story, every single bit of it, so that they can have, the proper information. It's like some people go to the doctor and they don't tell the whole thing. They say, I've got a bump on my arm. Well, the bump on the arm is doesn't mean anything. But if you say, I had a bump on the arm and then I ate this for lunch and then I had that happen and then this is kind of going on in my life too, then they can be like, oh, then I bet that it's this thing. They can put the pieces together for you a lot better and come up with the actual proper assessment that actually does help you. Otherwise, you tell them just about the bump, and then they'll give you Neosporin, they'll give you aspirin, you'll keep going back to the doctor, asking for this, asking for that, and it never gets better, and you end up just going, forget it. Doctors don't know what they're doing anyway. When the real problem is that you never told the complete truth. So I always say, just say it all. Every bit of it, no matter how uncomfortable it is, be a completely open book. So yeah, if you want to have a pure conscience and you want to be able to sleep at night, try to always do the right thing. And if you didn't, then speak the truth when it comes time. That's what I would advise. So, and I think that there are going to be more and more arrests and things happening. So some of you might be called into might be being asked questions, or you might feel compelled to volunteer some information or whatever the case is for everybody. But I just thought I would share that because I just got off the phone with her, and it really helped her, really put her mind at ease as to what to tell the authorities about a situation. And she's like, okay, I'm going to tell them everything. I said, tell them the good too. Tell them all the good too, all how, the full spectrum. So they can have the full picture. So there are situations, of course, where you wouldn't give all the information, but that's more on a personal level. That's more what all you really need to know about that situation is that, it's just very uncomfortable for me. Sometimes people don't need to know everything, but when it comes to something like a crime or something that really weighs on you or something like that, that's when it becomes really important that you, especially when you're talking to people are paid to be fair and do a fair assessment of something, definitely, in which would be a doctor too, because they're they're trying to do a fair assessment of your entire health and exactly what's going on with all the information. So it depends on who you're talking to, what the situation is. Again, I'm not saying tell everybody everything all the time, because I think people get themselves in trouble doing that too. But definitely when it comes to something important, then I would say just be a completely, totally open book. Okay, thanks. Hope that helps.